I've been an African safari guide for almost 24 years. When I was a younger man, I was everybody's health guru. I worked out 4 or 5 days a week. I ate right. I was on the right diet. Everything was all the right stuff for being healthy. I was an athlete in 3 sports. I had a stroke. It was like a real freaky thing. I got up in the middle of the night and headed for the bathroom and fell on the floor 3 times trying to get there. I ended up having problems in such that I needed a stent, and they put a stent in. In the year 2000, I had a heart attack, 5-way bypass. I wish I'd known about EECP before that, because I would not have done the 5-way bypass. It was crazy and took 3 months to heal, and it was scary. And I was in bed. I turned to my wife. I said, I think we need to go to the hospital. I couldn't get comfortable no matter what position I was in. And the way that my angina radiated across the back of my shoulders and my neck, it wasn't in my chest. While I was on the table and they were doing the angiogram, I had a heart attack. And they showed my wife and I the angiogram to see where there was just this little sliver of availability in my arteries. And that scares everybody right away. And so you immediately, okay, I'll do it, even though I was a health person who didn't want to do that sort of thing. Scared her to death. And so, a couple of days later, they ended up doing a 5-way bypass. And that was in May of 2000. Now I'm out of the hospital. I've got about 3 months of recovery. I was very angry. The last time I had a congestive heart failure problem, it was very serious. So I went back to work. I was working on a cruise ship at the time and flew to Italy. And at the time, I was really suffering from congestive heart failure. I didn't have the right medication. I was a little blown up in my legs and so forth. And there were a group of doctors on my ship at the time, and they said, what's wrong with you? And I said, well, I'm having a tough time breathing. And they looked at my ankles, and they were swollen. They said, we're going right now down to the dock. I ended up leaving the ship that night and going to the hospital in Miami, in Jackson Memorial. And I was in there for a week, and my ejection fraction was down to 15. And that, scared everybody. But they were still serving me stupid food and things that don't go along with cardiac problems and so forth. And after a week in the hospital, they sent me home. So my daughter and my wife and her husband, everybody looked at me, and they thought I was dying. They thought it was over. Well, after I found out about EECP, I had, I wished that I never had bypass surgery, because bypass surgery is very serious. They crack you open. And when I saw the video of bypass surgery, I was like freaked out that they could toss your heart around like a football. And, the non-invasive approach with EECP makes so much more sense. And being a health advocate, I thought, I would much rather have gone through and fixed it that way back then. But of course, in the moment, you think you're going to die if you don't get it done in 3 days, And then basically, that's what they told my wife, is that he won't last 3 days unless he does this. I feel like a new man. 70, I'm the new 50, My ejection fraction, I believe right now, is around 45. When I had bypass surgery in May of 2000, it ended up being 5-way bypass. After a couple of years, only 3 of the grafts remained. However, when I went to the cardiologist and we did several exams and so forth, they did notice that the EECP was responsible for growing new arteries, and there were collateral arteries and so forth, and that was very, very exciting at the time. I would say to anyone who had any kind of angina or heart problems to research EECP and, do it before you ever thought about doing bypass surgery. Eventually, people won't do bypass surgery. They'll, do something like this instead. Well, one of the beauties of the way that Sarah approaches this whole thing is it's a whole program. It's all about health. It's about a lifestyle change that many people have to make. Fortunately for me, I had already been doing a lot of the things that she advocates. And if you want to be healthy, you have to do some of it, if not all of it. When you're on the bed and you're listening to the tapes, there's great information. I mean, she just really nails it and gives you a template for how to be healthy and live longer and healthier. I think it's a great thing. So we have to be prepared for life to go on. You have to take care of yourself. You have to be better educated about what works and what doesn't. I'm a 70-year-old survivor of heart surgery, and EECP and Sarah Salate's program has been immensely beneficial to me. The other thing is the staff here is extraordinary. I mean, she really has put together people who care, who take care of you while you're here, who also have a great deal of knowledge. So they're well trained anyway. And at the end of the day, this has been a blessing in my life. So I'm very happy to have found the program, followed Sarah's advice in many ways, and I'm still here.